We're back.
We're back. Busy day, doing a lot of podcasts.
Doing a lot. This is the Unafraid podcast. For those who aren't kind of up to speed, these are companions to the book Unafraid. So if you haven't read it or listened to it, go grab a copy. We're now
at 10.
Yeah, 10
copies.
Better. Charlie chapter.
Yep.
Which is
third chapter, because we're going by phonetic alphabet. So Alpha Bravo Charlie number 3, and we are now we're out of Marine Corps boot camp.
Right. Going back though, one thing in boot camp was one of your, other than Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jean-Claude Van Damme, you had one influence that kind of steered you towards special operations.
Yes, I cannot remember his name. I want to say it was like Forsyth or something, but he was a recon Marine. And I remember just like, we always knew him as the special force guy because he would wear his like wings and his bubble. And he like, I remember one time he was doing like an Australian rappel where he like just jumps off and freaking runs down head first.
Head first.
I was like, holy crap, that's so freaking cool. Like this dude's like just not afraid of anything. Like, okay, I want that job. Right. So yeah, that's when I like really saw special forces kind of. And now that I know what I know, I've done what I've done, I'm like, okay, that really wasn't a big deal. But it was to a 17-year-old or 18-year-old, whatever I was, Eddie back then, for sure.
Yeah, he was another one of those people that influenced you.
Another one
without
of those.
Knowing it.
Yep.
So one of the things that this chapter gets into is failure, right?
Yep.
Tell me about trying to get to sniper school.
So after boot camp, I went to Camp Geiger to do School of Infantry SOI, and it sucked. It was very cold. It was wintertime, and you had old school Vietnam gear, like the wool sleeping bags that if they got wet, which they got wet quite often, weighed about 9 million pounds. Honestly, probably about 30 for a sleeping bag. And I'm not joking. It was so heavy. Once graduation ends, they put you in a line, alphabetical order, and they kind of go by and tell you where your orders are, where your next duty station is. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to go to like Camp Lejeune, which is 30 minutes away from Camp Geiger, or I'm going to go out to Pendleton, or maybe Okinawa, Japan, or 29 Palms, which is another crap hole from
somewhere where a deployable infantry unit.
Deployable unit infantry. That's what I wanted to do. So they get to the P's, because my name starts with a P, and there was 9 of us, and they're like Quantico, like Perez, Quantico, Porter, Quantico, Penny, Quantico, Poland, Quantico. I'm like, I let them because I'm not going to interrupt them. I let them do the thing, and I go up to them afterwards when they're kind of like doing whatever they're doing with their paperwork, and I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, you said Quantico, I'm not security forces. I thought like that was a job, like because it was in Virginia. I knew that school, and they're like, oh no, you're going to go train officers. And I remember thinking, I'm like, I don't know anything, and you want me to go train officers? I didn't understand what was happening, but really what it was, I went up to Quantico and I played a bunch of war games for officers' benefit. But I learned a lot, dude. My first year there, I was out there figured out I was like over 315 days. Like I didn't stay out overnight, but I was in the field doing land nav, sneaking up on people, setting ambushes, setting up booby traps. I learned the trade.
Your fieldcraft got really good.
Fieldcraft was just amazing. Like it was spot on.
Some people never get that much in their lifetime.
No, never. So, and then one of my instructors, one of my team leaders was a Marine Corps sniper. So I got my first glimpse of the ghillie suit, a real one.
Right.
And all the gear and the studying and the range books and all the stuff. And I'm like, okay, I want to do this now. So, but the thing is, when I was in Marine Corps, you have a rifle call in boot camp, which kind of carries on. It's like every year, every 6 months. I want to say it's every year.
And you didn't grow up shooting.
I didn't grow up shooting. No, I shot some squirrels and some birds. I would shoot by Alex, but I would never shoot
at Alex.
I would just like, I don't think my mom knows.
Hostage rescue.
So, but you're either a basic marksman, which is the lowest score, or okay, so you don't pass.
Right.
There's basic marksmanship, there's sharpshooter, and then there's rifle expert. You have to be a rifle expert to go to sniper school. That's one of the mandatory qualifications. I was a basic rifleman, so I barely made the qual. And that like I got I'm not making excuses, but I got like found out I needed glasses. So I'm wearing the freaking birth control BC glasses that they talk about.
This is like 1996. This is
96. So iron sights, yeah, like all that stuff. But still, like if I had a little bit probably more immersion into shooting, I think I would have done better because there's dudes getting expert and stuff like that. And I'm almost like, how'd you do that? Like, oh, I've been shooting for you jerk. Like no, I didn't, but I wasn't good. And so to have that, you had to go to Marine Corps Sniper, you had to be an expert. So I asked my command, I'm like, hey, can I please go do a requal to try to get it? So they let me go. and I missed it by 1 point. So I got my sharpshooter, but I missed the expert by 1. And I was like, can I go again? And I had to wait like 3 or 4 months or something, or maybe 6 months. I can't remember. And I went again, and I missed it again by 1 point. I was like, guys, I'm sorry to run this request check, because you have to request to freaking go take a dump in the Marine Corps because it's so freaking micromanaged. I asked to do it one more time, a third time. And they reluctantly said yes, but this is your last one. So I didn't have enough time left. I had to re-up and all that. So I was like, I will re-up if I get this and go. I'll be fine. And I missed it again by 1 point. 3 times by 1 point. Like, I'm getting chills. This is another God thing. And I'm like, this sucks. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting out of the military because I don't want to deal with this crap. And I'll just go be a cop in Cincinnati, which there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Like, I have mad respect for police officers. But it's like, okay, that's it. But then, like, after maybe a couple months of that thinking, I was like, no. And then I started getting my criminal justice degree. Because then I was like, oh, maybe the FBI or something. Like, I wanted to get my degree. And there was tuition assistance. So I was like, got to take advantage of this because, I'm not going to be doing it a long time. And I was like, no, I'm going to do the SEAL thing. And I would tell people that, and they'd be like, dude, you just can't even get into sniper school because of a qual. And they're right.
Right.
But my mindset was like, no, I'm going to go do this. Like, I got this. And I remember the first day I checked in, and I think this is in the book, one of the instructors, the BUDS instructors, came up. He looked at my ribbon, because it's not a medal, it's a ribbon in the Navy, and it said sharpshooter. It had like a little S on it. He's like, sharpshooter, huh? He's like, we'll make that an expert. And that was another thing, like, oh man, these guys are awesome. They're going to feed, like, yes,
they're going to make you better.
Yes. Like, they want to make me better. But yeah, that was my in the Marine Corps, but I failed. I couldn't even get into the school. I just couldn't pass that for some reason.
If you made that shot,
I would have been
probably stayed in the Marine Corps.
Probably would have stayed in the Marine. Could have died. Could have got my life would be totally
million
different.
Things could have gone differently.
Yeah. So I'm thankful for the failure. I'm thankful for the failure for sure. Because sometimes I think a lot of people think like, oh, I failed, and they focus on the negative part.
Right.
But dude, something else could be birth over here. That's way better
Garth
than
Brooks,
what you.
Thank God for unanswered prayers.
Exactly.
Right?
So it's thank you. Yes, exactly, 100%. So yeah, I like failure in some instances. I mean,
because it can lead to something great.
Absolutely. Take my marriage for example. I had a couple failures that got me to my best friend.
We'll dig into the depths of it later, but this is also when you got married for the first time.
Yes. Yep. Got married for the first time, and then
some huge red flags in hindsight.
A huge yeah, right. I was so young and dumb. It was like my first love, first relationship for sure. So yeah.
Another thing during this time that was a positive is you got exposed to CQB, close quarters battle.
Yeah, it was more like military operations, urbanized terrain, but obviously you have to take that, and there's somewhat of CQB, but it's not as cool looking as the SEAL teams do it. It's with your M16A2 service rifle with no optics and freaking bulky gear and full Kevlar and all kinds of crazy stuff, canteens.
Right.
But yeah, it clicked. Like if this guy goes left, I go right. I got to check this corner first. I got to watch this hallway. Like it's a game of angles. And I understood it, and I understood it well. It just for some reason, it clicked with me. It was my thing, and it stuck as being my thing. I just didn't have to think about it. It was naturally happened, and I love. It was so much fun. It was so much fun.
And we'll get there, but there was a point where to get into the Tier 1 unit, CQB is kind of one of the washout events.
It's the number one thing.
That a lot of really good guys couldn't do it. They didn't have that.
I luckily did not have an issue there at all. I did really good in that area.
So you end up making the decision to get out of the Marine Corps. There were some things about it you obviously loved, and there were some things about it you didn't like so much. What are the things you didn't like about the Marine Corps that weren't a fit for you?
The concentration more on haircuts, grooming standards, your uniform, are your boots polished? Right. Oh, I can see a little piece of your metal on your rank insignia. You better polish that. I understand. I get it, but it wasn't about training people, like making them better, making warriors. Like that's what I signed up for. I didn't sign up to be a freaking, let me make sure I look nice. I want to be a freaking killer.
Right.
Like I wanted to go kill bad guys. Like that's it. Like I just wanted to rid evil off this earth. I don't like evil. And that's what I wanted. I I didn't give a crap how, like, if my crease is this or that. I understood it and I respect it. That's what they want. But people got real anal. And it's usually the guys that have zero experience with anything.
That's all they have.
That's all they have.
Right.
That's all they have. And it's probably a lot of people that got beat up in high school. Now they got a little bit of rank on them. And
like the corporal that...
Yeah, the corporal guy that I was...
Push the broom.
I was pulling the broom. It was a push broom. I was pulling the broom, and he goes, "What's that broom called?" And I go, "A push broom." And he goes, "Well, why don't you push it then?" And that was a moment I'm like, what am I doing? So I just walked up and I just dropped the broom in front of him and walked off. I'm like, you do it. Like, you do it. Like, really? I'm doing the work. You're supervising. That's the thing. Like, supervise everything. It wasn't a man's world. It was like a lot of micromanaging, so much micromanaging. But I will say this, the Marine Corps is very good at disciplining and building in some of the intangibles like loyalty, integrity, all that stuff. But yeah, there's some turds that really live off that uniform thing, and they're missing the mark on what they're supposed to be doing. The purpose of our military is to protect our land and help our foreign allies. Your uniform has nothing to do with that. I get presentation, want to look good, want to stand for what it is and be nice. I understand that, but there's too far. There's too far.
Taken too far. When that becomes the primary thing.
Yeah, it's not cool.
So any regrets?
No, not at all. I didn't like the Marine Corps that much. Like the work going out, but I mean, I look back, I'm like, how much crap, like the field craft I learned, it was insane. Like I did more field craft there than I probably did the SEAL teams.
And it gave you a few years to grow up.
It gave me a few years. So I think I went to BUD/S, I think I was 23. So
yeah, big difference between 18 and 23.
Yeah, absolutely big difference. Yeah. It worked out good. So I matured a lot. Great.
We'll get to BUD/S in the next chapter.
Got it.
Let's do a real quick 2-minute version of what's that transition like from, because we kind of gloss over this in the book. You're a Marine.
So when I decided I wanted to switch over to the Navy, I heard that you could just do a swap. Like while you're in service, go to BUD/S. If you don't make BUD/S, they send you back to your unit or to another Marine Corps unit. That was old. So I had to be completely out of the military. So I finished my 4 years. I even tried to take my terminal. I had like 90 days saved up. Like, hey, can I just switch over? I had to make sure everything was gone. My terminal was gone, and I had to be out of the military for 1 day so they could reprocess me and do my drug testing, and then sign up for the Navy. And then I went to a place called up in Chicago at Great Lakes. It was called TPU, Transitioning Processing Unit. So anybody like Oz vets or NAV vets, Navy veterans or other service veterans would go there, and they would do all your...
You don't have to go to Navy boot camp.
You wouldn't have to go through Navy boot camp. Only because I did Marine Corps. So okay. I think Army, Air Force still had to go to Navy.
Okay.
But like if you were a returning Navy, you didn't have to, and if you're a Marine Corps, you didn't have to. So Marine Corps, you don't have to go to any other boot camp because it's like,
it's the hardest.
It's the hardest, yeah. So I was up there for like 3 or 4 months, and then I had to get an A school, which is a job pretty much, because they didn't have SO, which is special operations that they do now. It's actually like special operations is a job. So I had to go find a job. So I did gunner's mate. It's like the closest thing to use guns. So I did that.
And there were no guns.
There was no guns. It was electronics. It was. I didn't like that either. And but I met some good friend. I met my BUD/S roommate Joe. He was in my class, and so did that. I think it was like 5 or 6 month school, and then right from there went straight to BUD/S, and then BUD/S started.
Day 1, week 1.
Day 1, week 1.
Get to that in the next segment.
Take it easy, guys.